What do you do when a sponsorship prospect that you've been working on and building a relationship with for months says no? How do you handle it? How do you overcome that objection and bring them back into your prospecting process to turn that into a yes and into cash? In today's video, we're going to dive into that exact process. Hey everyone, Chris Bayless here from the Sponsorship Collective. Before we dive in, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to make sure you get alerts every time we release a new video. Today's video is all about sponsorship follow-up and the art of overcoming objections from your prospects. But before we dive into tactics, I want to share a story with you. In this case, the story starts with an angry sponsor on the other end of a phone call. What do you mean you sold our sponsorship and the last opening you had for sponsors to our competitors? How dare you? We've been working together for years and you just gave away my spot to someone else. My heart sank. My sponsor was angry, and maybe with good reason. But how did this happen? Why was my sponsor angry when 4 months ago he told me that they didn't have the budget to move forward with this sponsorship and that the timing wasn't right for them at that moment? That means no, doesn't it? I thought my sponsor had told me no 4 months ago. I sheepishly went into my boss's office and told him what happened. And he said to me, "Chris, you committed the cardinal sin of all sales, including sponsorship sales. You made assumptions on behalf of your prospect. They told you they didn't have budget right now, which you thought was them politely saying no thank you. The only thing we don't have budget right now means is that the timing is wrong. Give us a call in a couple of weeks." The same is true with "I'm too busy right now. I don't have time for a call. Can you send me an email?" The same is true with the response, "Let me think about it," or "Just send me a proposal." We hear these things, and because they're not "yes, sign me up," we assume our prospects actually mean "no thanks." We don't want to be rude or pushy, and so we back off and we lose the sale. In this case, my sponsor meant, "We don't have budget yet. Follow up later." But it's my job as the salesperson to really tease out what they mean. "I don't have budget right now." My response should have been, "When's a better time for me to follow up? I'd love to work with you. You tell me when to call you. I'll put it in my calendar and I'll give you a call that day." But that's not what I did. I was uncomfortable, I was nervous, and I wanted to get off the phone quickly because in my mind I had just been rejected. Fast forward several months, this sponsor did have budget, gave me a call, and quite rightly was frustrated with me because they did not say no. They simply said the timing isn't right yet. My boss, who was very patient, explained to me that you should always take your sponsor's word for it. If they tell you they don't have time, they don't mean no thank you. He told me, think of your sponsors as grown adults who know what they want. And if they don't want to work with you, they will tell you they don't want to work with you. When someone tells you the timing's not right, find out when the timing is right. If someone tells you they don't have the budget yet, find out when they will have the budget. If someone says phone doesn't work, email is better, ask them, what should I be providing you in that email to help give you some more information? In other words, the advice given to me that day was to assume that my sponsors know what they want, and unless they tell me, "No thank you, I'm not interested in this opportunity," then I shouldn't move them out of my sales funnel. But the moment they say, "No thank you, I'm not interested in this opportunity," remove them from the sales funnel. Sponsorship sales is not about forcing people to buy stuff they don't want. It's about presenting an opportunity and working with your prospect until you've developed something that they can't wait to purchase. So most of the time when people ask me, what are some tactics to follow up and overcome objections? What they really mean are, what are those secret sales words that you can use that trick people into buying your products quickly? Well, unfortunately, there's no such thing. Decision makers in the sponsorship space are senior enough to not be tricked. They know what they want, they know what they're trying to achieve, and they know how they can work with you to achieve their potential goals or their planned outcomes. So don't think of follow-up and overcoming objections as sales tactics to trick your sponsor into working with you. We're not doing hard sales here. We are doing consultative sales. We want to know what our sponsors are trying to achieve, and that's our approach. So when a sponsor says to you, "We don't have budget right now," ask the question, when do you go into budgeting mode so that you can plan for this in the future? If they have zero budget, that's when you ask them, how do we plan to get into your budget process in future years, weeks, or months? When someone tells you that they're really busy right now, that does not mean no thank you. It just means they're really busy right now. So ask them when a better time to call would be. Ask them when a better time to drop by the office would be. Ask them if there's someone on their team who they think you should be working with instead, because you don't want to take up any more of this individual's time. If the sponsorship is of interest to them, they'll be really happy to pass you on to someone else who might be able to action the decision. Just send me something by email is tough, because it sounds like a yes, but it isn't. Just send me a proposal, just send me something by email. Don't let that trick you into going into full sales mode. You want to ask your sponsor, your prospect, what can I send you to help you determine whether or not we should have a discovery meeting? Your goal is not to sell them on the phone. Your goal is not to sell them by email. Your goal is to get them to agree to a meeting with you so that you can figure out how you can solve their problem. And if you can't solve their problem, you just move on. So when they say send me something by email, say tell me what kind of things you're looking for. When sponsors say to me, when prospects say to me, well, just send me a proposal, my response is always the same. I really can't do that because I don't know what you're trying to achieve. We don't have stock proposals that we just send out hoping for cash. Everything we do is custom. But I'd be happy to send you information about our audience, about some activations that we've done in the past, some case studies. You just tell me what you'd like to see and I'll happily send it over. Let me think about it. This is a really common, quote, objection that we hear. Most advice is, if someone says, let me think about it, don't let them off the phone. That's your time to really hammer them and make the sale. I disagree. When someone says, let me think about it, my response is always the same. Of course, take your time. These are important decisions. This is a big investment, potentially. And this is a significant part of your marketing strategy. You should, of course, think about it. Is there anything I can provide you to help you make that decision? Are there any questions that you have for me that could help you with that decision? Would it be helpful if I put you in touch with an existing partner of ours and maybe you could talk to them about some ways that they're seeing value through this sponsorship and their other partnership opportunities? Let me think about it is not no. Let me think about it is also not an invitation for you to try to make the sale. These are intelligent, successful individuals. If they're telling you they need to think about it, you should trust that. So why not ask them how you can help them make a decision, whether it's to work with you or not work with you. If you feel like you're being pushy, if you feel like your sponsor is saying no to you, even though they didn't actually say no, then I would challenge you. That thinking is not serving you well. It's hard enough to make a sponsorship sale without you assigning objections to your prospects. If you feel like you're being pushy, if you feel like you're not being polite, you really need to challenge that. If you are being pushy and impolite, well, that's something different. But instead of thinking that doing your job is pushy, you have to step back and think, why did I reach out to these individuals in the first place? Clearly, I have something to offer them. Clearly, I believe that I can add value to their business, and I owe it to them to follow up and give them the information they need. Let go of the concern that you're being too pushy, that you're being impolite, that you're being a sleazy salesperson. That's not what you're trying to do at all. Instead, don't make the same mistake I did. Take a step back, hear what your prospect is saying, and ask them how you can help them overcome their own objections. When they're not interested, when you're at the point where they can make a decision, they will tell you yes or they will tell you no. Anything else is neither yes nor a no, and therefore requires you as the salesperson to continue asking questions, continue probing. So that's it. Follow up regularly, follow up often, ask good questions, And make sure you're giving your sponsors the right to say yes or no without interpreting, without adding your own concerns on top of that. And remember, the sponsorship proposal does not make the sale. You do. Good luck out there.